Morning everyone, it's day 22. I forgot to do a wrap-up video last night. There's a bunch of other hikers that came into camp here at the Denton shelter, and we just sort of sat around talking and it got late, but good shelter. I set up my tent. A lot of other people were, some other people on tent sites, some people in the shelter. So now we're headed 5.2 miles to Front Royal. So I have a reservation at the Mountain Home Bed and Breakfast. Check-in isn't until 3, so we've got plenty of time. So I slept in, didn't really hurry packing my stuff up the last one out of camp, but that's okay. One short, punchy climb, then a big descent into Front Royal. So we'll catch up with you up at the trail. In psychology, I believe they're what they're called Rorschach tests, where they basically show you ink blots and then ask you what you see, and perhaps that is some psychologically significant in some way. But let's do that on the trail. What do you see? Okay. Did you see a rhino? Yeah, I could see it. What did you come up with first, though? What was your first instinct? Put it in the comments. All right, everyone, we have arrived at Mosby Campground. We're not going to actually walk down there, but we can talk about who it's named after. The campground is named after John Mosby, who was a colonel in the Confederacy. This is according to Wikipedia. I just looked this up. I'm not a Civil War historian by any means. Led a regiment of Rangers that was known for sort of daring quick strike raids, and then could sort of blend back into the ordinary townsfolk, and so the Union had a lot of trouble counterattacking. Very interesting person based on his Wikipedia page. Was against secession, but joined the Confederate Army, was against slavery, but did own a slave, and then even after the war, went to work, became a Republican and went to work as Grant's campaign manager, and then caught a lot of grief from the Southerners as he was viewed as a turncoat, and his family was terrorized, and his boyhood home was burned down. And but anyway, I know naming things after Confederate figures is a controversial topic even to this day, so we're not going to get into hero versus traitor or anything like that, but it does sound like he lived an interesting life. All right, we're about to crest this last climb. Been really nice walking today. For the most part, nice and cool. Relatively gentle grades, not much rocks. It's been nice. But let's stick with the north versus south theme, but let's keep it lighthearted. So let's talk about how you pronounce the name of this trail that we're on. So I grew up in Indiana, and I would call it the Appalachian Trail. And I think that's what most people call it on this trail, particularly when I was northbound, right, when I was north of the Mason-Dixon line. But I've noticed since I've gotten down south here in Virginia, I hear a lot of people pronouncing it the Appalachian Trail. So how do you pronounce it? Is it Appalachian or Appalachian? I would say Appalachian. Is that a north-south thing? Now, my wife is from Texas, but I think she would also pronounce it Appalachian, but perhaps that's an influence of how I say it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a regional thing, because you do hear sometimes the region referred to as Appalachia. So maybe it's not, maybe your pronunciation is sort of context dependent. I don't know. But anyway, let me know how you pronounce it in the comments. Okay, you can see the blazes on the tree. This is the trail, but we just come up against this enormous chain link fence that's barbed wire at the top that says no trespassing U.S. government property. Now, I'm sure it's probably a really boring answer about what this really is, but instead we want to have some fun with this. So I want you to put in the comments, wrong answers only, right? What is this? My guess is this is a sister facility to the Hawkins National Laboratory, where the portal to the Upside Down is. So again, put your answer in the comment. Most creative gets 0 prizes, but the accolades of our small hiking community. Well, this fence has gone on for miles and miles and miles. We've come here to gate 75, which I suppose implies the existence of gates 1 through 74. I don't know what this place is. Again, I look forward to your answers. I'm not going to launch a clandestine investigation of this facility, but if I were, there would be my escape route, the tree branch that has fallen onto the barbed wire. Anyway, look forward to your answers. Be creative. Entertain me. We'll see you guys later. Okay, everyone, we are walking along US 522. Trail spit us out. We're heading east to the bed and breakfast where I've got a room. Front Royal's about 3-point-something miles west. So we'll check in once we get to the bed and breakfast. Okay, everyone, let me show you around Mountain Home Bed and Breakfast. So here's the main house. That's where I'm staying. And then they also have a cabin down here, and I'll show you inside in just a bit. So here's my room. Kind of a pack explosion, apologize for that. But basically you drop off your laundry and they do it for you. And I'll show you around the shared shower and bathroom facilities upstairs. So here's the shower and restroom, also with plenty of winter clothes. And then coffee and tea, water, some baked goods. Was actually built in 1840. So if you think about, I work at the University of Arkansas. The University of Arkansas didn't exist until 1871, and even the state of Arkansas didn't exist until 1836. So sorry about the out of focus there, but just an absolutely amazing place. So I just got back from, we went to town. There's a little trolley that will take you into town just from the trail. And so I went in, and there's also Lobo and Aves are staying here. So Lobo is Spanish for wolf, Aves is Spanish for bird. And so they are flip-flop through hikers. They actually started in Harper's Ferry a week after I did. Of course, they actually hiked those pesky miles between PA 325 and Katahdin. But they are, plugging away. And there was also, we saw Music Man in Front Royal. Music Man was at the campsite last night, the Denton shelter. We were all there together. So we all went out to the Vibrasa Brewing and had a nice meal and a couple beers. And I got to say that this was probably my favorite night of all the nights on trail. We just had a great time. So highly recommend Mountain Home B&B. Highly recommend Front Royal. Very cool sort of mountain town, and just had a great time. And so I had a lot of fun. Tomorrow I have breakfast at 8:30, so Mountain Home will cook you basically what you want. So I've got some pancakes and orange juice on order, and then I will be heading home. So I've decided to head home for a couple reasons. A, it took me a day longer to get from Harper's Ferry to Front Royal than anticipated. And so I'm not going to be able, I would not be able to finish Shenandoah National Park before I have to head home. And so the issue is just logistics. It's easier to get a flight either out of the north end of Shenandoah, which we're at in Front Royal, or the south end of Shenandoah National Park, which is at Waynesboro, Virginia. But it's much more difficult to get shuttles out of the park itself, just because there's only 3 entrances to Shenandoah National Park, and it's tougher to get to, and there's not necessarily an airport close by when you get into the middle of Shenandoah. Also, it's a weather issue. So tomorrow's supposed to be nice, but I would have probably taken tomorrow as a 0 if I was going to continue hiking. But then Saturday and Sunday, which are the next 2 days, we're going to be very rainy, on the order of 2 inches of rain, which the area needs, and that would recharge the water sources. But I didn't want to necessarily be hiking in downpours. There's also potentially a looming government shutdown, and so Shenandoah National Park has issued some warnings about if the government shuts down, what will happen. And in fact, Aves and Lobo are worried about that, because they're going to be walking through the park, and if a government shutdown happens, then what services are closed and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just not going to worry about all that. Logistically, it's a lot easier for me to get home from Front Royal. So I'm going to call that a section hike for now. right? That was Harper's Ferry to Front Royal. And I'll do Shenandoah National Park the next time I'm out. Now, when will that be? I don't know. It's probably not going to be, I'm probably done for hiking for 2023. As far as 2024, spring break doesn't make a lot of sense simply because Shenandoah National Park doesn't, the amenities don't open like the campsites and the camp stores and the waysides and the lodges, etc., don't open until late April or even early May. And so this might be a sort of a May trip that I make to Shenandoah National Park, but I will keep you posted. So I just tallied the totals here. That was 53.7 miles for this particular section hike. Again, a relatively short section, but again, we're taking it one length of the pool at a time. That's a total of 195.5 miles hiked on the AT in 2023. That is 8.9% of the entire trail. So again, at this pace, it would take me over 10 years to complete the AT. I'm not committed to doing that. I'm going to hike when I want to hike, and I'm not going to hike when I don't want to hike. What did I learn? Well, I need better fitness if I'm going to continue to do this. I once was a reasonably fit individual. I need to get closer back to that if I'm going to try to keep doing this. The issue with section hiking is you're just never going to get your trail legs, right? You're never going to be able to put in 500 miles and build up and be able to crush those big 20-mile days. So you need to have a high level of fitness sort of before you hit the trail. Number two, I need to fuel better, right? I struggled particularly after lunch, and I think that's just an issue of I just wasn't eating enough calories to fuel my exertion levels. But did I have fun? Yes, I had fun, particularly tonight. Again, I think tonight was sort of the most fun I had on trail. I enjoy the aspect that I enjoy perhaps most is are meeting the people and listening to their stories and getting to know them. I think that's just an amazing time. So I had fun. I'm going to continue to do this, uh, you know, but it may not be the entire trail, or if it is the entire trail, it may take me many, many years. But again, I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out in the deep end, and I'll see you in 2024, hopefully on a future section hike.
If you enjoyed this video, I would ask two things. First, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those actions help us grow the community so that we can put more good out into the world. Second, when I'm not out on an adventure, I am a college professor. A college education can be transformative, but college is an expensive proposition. However, I think we can help, so I'm asking you to please donate to support scholarships for students at the Sam M. Walton College of Business at the University of Arkansas. There are two ways you can navigate to the donation page. First, you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen. Please have cookies enabled in your browser. The second method is to navigate to the URL that you see on the screen or in the description to this video. When you arrive at that page, what should you see? Well, you will be on the online giving website for the University of Arkansas. You should notice that the designation and the other department, program, or fund fields are automatically populated. That's going to tell the fundraising personnel to automatically associate any funds raised with our effort here on this channel. All you have to do is enter an amount and your personal information. I will keep you up to date with our fundraising progress as we move through the adventure. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you on the next video.